the code for crumbling empire.
It's a Sheringham. History is made. Manchester United are the champions of Europe again.
Hello and welcome to This Is United podcast. I am your host Vince. Today I am joined by Alex.
Hello.
Hello.
What have we got coming up this week?
This week we will be discussing Harry Maguire and his performance against Fulham. Zirkzee's goal against Fulham. Pretty good compared to last season when we couldn't score.
Mm-hmm.
And last one we're going to talk about the Fulham actual results. And is it the same problem we had last season?
When you say problem, what do you mean by problem? Because we won the game, right?
We did. It's the missed chances.
Yeah. And we've been banging on about this for 3 seasons, is it now?
It's got to be,
that we cannot put our chances away. We're the least clinical, worst at shooting team in the Premier League. With some of the best players at shooting in the Premier League as well, which doesn't make sense.
Bruno, for example, when he first came in, banging goals for fun. And then you look, I think it was last season, I think I said it on the last podcast, we never went above +1 goal difference last season.
Yeah.
And our defence was poor, but we missed so many chances.
The big obvious thing with United is, for the last couple of seasons under Ten Hag, has been our defensive vulnerabilities and our midfield struggle. But really, that is papering over some cracks that up front, we're just not putting the ball in the net when we should be.
Of course, we don't have a big number 9. We didn't have one against Fulham, but the chances that, like Garnacho, Bruno, we'll get into these, Garnacho, Bruno, that they had the quality enough players to put those chances away, for sure. Bruno especially, I don't know if you saw afterwards, he did apologise to everyone that's got him in his fantasy team, saying I will do better.
Yeah. And actually, I appreciate that apology, because I've got him as well.
Of course you have.
Yeah.
It's hard work, and if we have the same problems we had last season, I know we've got Højlund, who's obviously not ready yet. We played him we overplayed him last season. Zirkzee this season, we don't know what we're going to get there. So we've got a lot of Bruno, Garnacho, Rashford. They're going to have to start chipping in. Casemiro had, maybe 4 shots.
I think it was honestly 6.
2 headers, 2 shots from outside the box, all blazed completely over the bar. They're quality top professionals, and they're just not putting the ball in the back of the net.
What is the reason? Genuinely. I've scratched my head for 2-3 years.
We spoke about it before. I think it's pressure with Bruno. He puts so much pressure on himself to put things away. So when he does have the big chances, he's so like, I'm going to put this away. I don't think he thinks if he takes a second, he'll take it around the keeper. He'll put it in the back of the net. I don't think he takes that split second like a big, decent striker has. Obviously, he's not a striker. You know, that big number 9 has. I take a split second, that ball goes in the back of the net. I don't think Bruno's got that anymore for whatever reason. And I do think it's down to pressure because he's our number 1 player. We look to him for everything, for goals, assists, control of play, pressure, everything we look to him for. And I think in that split second, it's just a lot for him to take. However, it is only the first game of the season. Let's not get too carried away.
Early days.
But we don't want to go back to what we had to last season.
No, and just before we move on this topic, can I just say something that really impressed me from Erling Haaland this week? I don't know if you saw it, but Erling Haaland was talking to the Sky team about how he was thinking about this chance he missed against Chelsea last season against Robert Sanchez as he's running through on goal.
Really?
So Haaland takes the touch. He thinks back to last season where he missed a chance because Sanchez I think he stayed on his line and then dove to his left to save it. He anticipated that Sanchez was going to do this, so he knocked it through the defenders, brought the keeper out and dinked it over him. That level of detail is, I think, the prerequisite for a top level striker, and none of our players do that. He scored 30 goals last season.
Top goal scorer last season. He's thinking about 1 miss.
He's been thinking about that since last season. That's amazing. But that's elite, and that is what is that? Is it too much to ask for United players to have that sort of dedication?
I think
they're dedicated. Yeah. I don't want to call anyone out.
We haven't got a number 9, have we? Let's be honest. But I think with those types of chances that Haaland's talking about, many of our players wouldn't even get into a position to probably score those. But the positions that Bruno found himself in this week and Garnacho, they're easy chances. They're not chances
I also understand how Bruno missed his. I won't understand how Garnacho missed his.
See, I don't know about the Garnacho. So Garnacho should score that. We all know Garnacho should score that, right? But the pass from Rashford was garbage. It was behind him. He had so much space in front to put him in. He wouldn't have been offside. Play it around to the edge of the box like that. And no, he cuts it straight across. So it's behind. He has to drag his leg back. No excuse for Garnacho. Should be scoring that. But the pass from Rashford, and you look at Rashford 2 or 3 seasons ago, don't pass that. He buries it. not even bothered. He puts that in.
Yeah.
But I don't mind that from Rashford. The pass could be better. I'm happy Rashford's in a situation where he's getting those passes across because he hasn't been.
Yeah, I mean that was a massive error. I think it was Kelvin Bassey swiped it in, missed it by a mile. Yes, I'm happy that Rashford's in those positions. Do I want Rashford to square it there? No, I want him to go and score. And I know he should. And the easy goal, and look, I probably would have said it if he'd have missed, I probably said, oh, you got to square it, to be honest. But a Rashford that I'm expecting to score 15, 20 goals this season is a Rashford that takes that opportunity on himself and scores.
Do you think a Bernardo Silva's passing that? Do you think a Salah's passing that?
I think most of them are going to either pass it and pass it successfully or bury it themselves. Yeah.
Bury that. But Rashford's lacking. We know he's lacking confidence. But I think it was a better performance.
You mentioned Maguire.
Yeah. I thought he was top level. I think with aerial duels, I think he won 5 out of 6. His passing, look, he's not a ball-playing defender. We know that. He played a few really decent balls forward, but the basic passing, if he's under real pressure, makes mistakes. Mm-hmm. But I thought that game, he was phenomenal. He didn't put a foot wrong. He can, and the block where they probably should have gone 1-0 up. I know it's all about the pass from Pereira.
It was a dud pass, wasn't it?
He was in the right position.
Mm-hmm.
There was a time earlier in the game where I watched him. The ball, they were coming into the box from the corner, and as he came in, Maguire got attracted towards the ball and left loads of space in behind him. Luckily, the pass was a mistake and it didn't get to where it was supposed to go. But Maguire didn't do that this time. He didn't drop in to make a mistake so we can get past him. He held his ground, went backwards, and it worked out well for him. But I thought he was top level.
I thought he had a good game, but I did think that just that game highlighted exactly why we're going to have De Ligt playing alongside Martinez this season and not Harry Maguire. It's a no-brainer at this point for me. I think De Ligt will come straight into that team.
Again, this is going a bit off topic, but did you see that one tackle where De Ligt came out and rushed the ball and completely missed it?
Yeah, it's early days in it, right? And whatever, but I would have more faith in De Ligt on the ball, running back to goal, and as much faith as I've got in Harry to win stuff in the air. I think De Ligt is that player as well.
You're happy with Harry on the bench, right? I don't want to sell him.
I don't want to sell him.
No.
I think I think Maguire's earned the right to be a Man United player.
I think last season he had a few decent performances.
Yeah, and I just think to overcome what he's had to overcome in the media,
sure.
I think he's been brilliant.
Yeah, I love him for. And England, I watched a lot of England interviews, and all the players wanted him there. John Stones says we all miss him. They wanted him there. He's obviously a good person to be in the dressing room as well. But yeah, I thought he was really good. Martinez had a tough game. I thought one of his worst first halves I've seen in a United shirt. But how much better do you feel when we got Martinez?
He's brilliant, mate.
I know we got Bruno, but he might be our best player.
I'll take Bruno out. He's our best player.
Yeah, for sure. I think he's
our most important player.
Yeah, I think whoever plays
take Bruno out,
him, got the enforcer. He
can do everything as well. He's brilliant. He's brilliant running back to goal. He's brilliant positionally. He's fantastic on the ball, and he's aggressive. And I just love everything he's about.
If you've got a ball playing centre midfielder, that aggression is going to get the ball into them where Maguire won't make a pass. It's a bit risky. He's making that pass.
Yeah.
Okay, he had a bad one against Fulham. He doesn't usually. Mm-hmm. And do you know what I loved about it as well? Did you watch afterwards his interview? How composed he was during his interview?
Yeah, I loved it.
The fact he learned, if you watch the game, Adama took it down the wing and just absolutely beat him for pace.
Yeah.
Didn't happen again.
No.
He learned from that mistake. Yeah. Can you imagine Maguire in that situation? Probably still going to do the same thing.
I can imagine a lot of defenders in that situation would still have that kind of ego, think, oh, well, I'm not going to get beat again, so I'm going to do exactly the same thing, but be a bit more aggressive, and they end up getting booked or sent off.
Yeah.
Whereas Lisandro dropped.
Yeah.
And
Gary Neville picked up on it as well.
Yeah.
Gary said, he needs to drop. And as soon as he said that, it's exactly what he did. Yeah, that is signs of a quality defender. And his head, how level was he when he was speaking?
Yeah, it sounded great, didn't he?
Unbelievable. Really enjoyed the performance from the team. Yeah. It's just a goal standard. I don't think we ever looked like we were going to concede. We had that one chance where Maguire did block the ball, but which is good from our defence point of view, because in the second half we were dominating, and I saw there was a period, wasn't there, where we were thinking we can win this. Our midfield were going forward and they weren't quite getting back enough, and it was left our defence quite exposed, but we still dealt with that quite well.
We dealt with it better, but I think it's because we overloaded the midfield and we were playing 2 number 8s almost in Bruno and Mount. I think what was interesting is watching City at the weekend is how they attacked and how Man United attacked was very similar, attacking with 6 players. And this is something that City are doing, and I don't know whether this is something that Ten Hag has picked up on, and it's obviously a conscious decision, but they're attacking in numbers, and when they're defending, it's almost like a 3-1-6. And that was really interesting that City did that and United did that exactly the same.
But we've still got a long way to go. We've played one game. I'm still interested to see how that works against a big team, or even Brighton, who are going to press well. They're really good with the ball. How are we going to be when we're not having a lot of possession of that football? That Brighton game on Saturday after, I think it's after 12:45 kickoff.
12:30 kickoff.
That's a big game to see where we are actually at.
Yeah, because this is Brighton team that will be throwing everything in terms of trying to get in a goal, and United will have to. I think United will get their best performances this season, sitting back in and dropping deep and hitting on counter attacks.
And if we defend like we did against Man City in the Charity Shield and against Fulham, I think we'll be all right. And just got to learn to do that. You
were at the game at the Amex last season, and that game, you'll tell me better than me. I watched it, but you were at the game. That game, we got absolutely dominated by them. But we hit them with 2 attack goals.
Every time we went forward, we looked like we were going to score.
And we were dangerous. And I think if we do the same again, I don't think Brighton as an identity have changed all that much from Zirkzee to Zirkzee. No. I don't see like much of a change from what I saw against Everton. I was actually really impressed by them, but I was surprised. I think going into that game, United need to sit back, drop deep, accept that Brighton would because they'll be expecting us to push forward and hit us on the counter attack. Well, let's play them at their own game.
Again, I'm going to contradict myself here. They're going to have a lot of possession of the ball, and if they get 1-0 up, they're going to sit back and we're going to struggle to break them down. However, I know Fulham, they're not an amazing team, but still a solid team.
Yeah, still a good
Last
team.
season, we couldn't break down a low block. Okay, same like I said earlier, we said are we going to miss a lot of chances like we did last season? But we broke down a low block and we should have scored 3 or 4 goals. Yeah. That last season, that would not have happened.
We broke down a low block, and I know you probably weren't as happy as I was about this performance, but we broke down a low block because we had players like Ahmad, who, when the ball's at his feet, he doesn't lose it. He's tricky, he's intricate, and he will turn and face a defender. The thing that we really lack is when Anthony last season was turning, he wasn't turning and facing the defender, he was turning and going back, which... That makes a huge difference. It puts a defender on the back foot. It allows our midfielders to get forward. Mount, Fernandes, Casemiro, players who can be tricky and intricate in the box and around the box. That makes a massive difference, and that's how you break down a low block.
I agree. I'm nothing against Ahmad's performance, like, really badly. I just think he played with a bit of pressure. You could feel like the pressure was weighing on him. When you watched him pre-season or you watched him against City in a Charity Shield, he was no pressure. He was taking people on for fun.
Oh, he's brilliant.
You could see, I don't know if you saw just one example. He came back with the ball and was running back to his own goal and lost the ball in quite a dangerous position. It just felt like it just felt like there was a bit of pressure for him for the first time we've ever seen it.
I don't mind a winger or a forward losing the ball when they're trying something. I don't mind it.
That he could have made an easy pass or gone back to the keeper. He kept it for too long. Just didn't release it. I think he's just trying so hard to get into the team, which he deserves to be in.
I think he deserves to be. That's not going to change it for me, that performance. I still think he deserves to be there. I think the problem is going to be that Marcus Rashford is going to play and Garnacho is going to play. And it's how are they going to find...
We're at a crossroads here, aren't we, with the Rashford and Garnacho thing. Garnacho, there's quality there, but how many chances does that man miss? And Rashford is just... infuriating.
It's as simple as whoever doesn't step up this season will be dropped, and we have to be at Man United. We have to be that ruthless.
I don't think we've got a season to give them.
No, I think we're looking 3 or 4 games in. That's my opinion. If I've got Josh Zirkzee coming off the bench and scoring and putting chances away like he did, which again something that a lot of United players aren't doing, then guess what? He's playing.
Yeah,
and Rashford, you're not playing.
Yeah.
And I love Rashford,
it's a really tough one.
How can you? We are not in a position to be able to afford. Fulham, we got away with it, but to be able to afford when we play Brighton this week. If we are missing chances, Brighton will go and beat us.
You got Matoma down that left.
You got Matoma. I don't know if Minter's going to be playing, but he was brilliant,
injured, didn't he?
You got Danny Welbeck, who's going to put chances away somehow
against United.
Obviously. Yeah. And then you've got the likes of Evan Ferguson to come back in. João Pedro always has a good game against United as well last season.
But they do not have Pascal Gross, and we all know Pascal Gross
loves
the
scoring.
goal against United.
That is the biggest thing. And actually, if I was going to be a betting man, which I obviously am not, I would be backing United this weekend.
You're a braver man than I am.
Well, they're in
I'm intrigued
weekend treble.
to see.
So.
I'm intrigued to see where we're at against a decent side.
Yeah.
A proper quality side
Yeah.
that will be top half of the table this season.
Mm-hmm.
Zirkzee's performance. So for me, and the commentators are picking up, he didn't get involved in the game a lot, which I agree with. It was a tough game at that point. But when he did, how good did he look on the ball?
Brilliant.
Bringing the ball back, taking defenders on, and then to score that chance.
Man United do not need a centre forward who's going to come back, drop deep, and link up play. We don't need that. We're playing 2 number 8s. Why the hell would we need that? And if we're going to play 2 number 8s in Mount and Fernandes, I don't know whether we are going to play a central striker. But what we need is an Erling Haaland who takes 2 or 3 touches a half and is in the right position, and when the ball drops to him, he puts it in the back of the net. That is what we are crying out for, and it is what Man United have been missing for a long time. If Zirkzee is going to be that man, and he's great off his left foot, he's great at arriving into the box. I was saying this pre-season, those are the sort of goals he's going to score for Man United. That is what we need. We do not need someone who's going to drop deep and get involved in play. We've got Bruno Fernandes. He's our playmaker. I don't need a Harry Kane. I need someone like Erling Haaland to be on the end of those crosses.
Yeah, that finish was pretty
brilliant. So underrated.
To get his foot to that and get it in as well. From where he was on the edge of the box, just inside the box, unbelievable.
And how cool was he after the game talking?
He didn't want to be in front of the cameras though, did he? I don't think he liked that.
He doesn't feel comfortable, but I don't mind that.
He got his award. He's like,
thanks.
Thank you. See you later.
It almost looks like he's too cool for it. I don't know whether he's nervous or too cool for it. Either way, you're like scoring the goal against in front of the Stretford end and running away celebrating like that. I loved it. I thought it was brilliant, and it's a massive moment for Zirkzee. I think that's a massive moment in the season for Man United as well. I know it's early on. I think it's massive.
I agree. You got Højlund to come back still. What do you think? Obviously, Garnacho had a big miss, as we touched on. Did you see the video after the game with Ruud going over to console him?
Talk me through it.
So Garnacho obviously missed his chance. End of the game, he's going over to the fans. He's a bit dejected. He's walking off the pitch, and Ruud gets on, starts clapping him, encouraging him. Don't worry about it. Get on. We've got the next game. That for me is massive. Imagine someone like Ruud van Nistelrooy coming up to you. You've just missed a massive chance. Probably could have cost us the game. They could have got an equaliser, and he's coming on saying, "Forget it. You did well. But there's another chance." I love that. And for me, obviously growing up, my favourite player was Ryan Giggs, but that's by the by now. So after Ryan Giggs, I always loved Ruud van Nistelrooy. Had some tough times when he played for us, but what a finisher. Unbelievable. Yeah,
and arguably the greatest striker. You take Rooney out of it as the greatest player, but arguably the greatest striker that Man United have ever had.
Yeah, I agree.
And the most, again, clinical. And this is what Man United need. We need clinical in front of goal. And if Garnacho's not going to be that, one of our forwards needs to be. But I do think Garnacho's in for a season where I don't think he'll have the same numbers as last season. If he has the same numbers as last season, I think he's taken a backward step. He needs to make steps in his
chances last season as well. How many times
I want him to score a minimum of 10 Premier League goals. I think that is
good enough.
It's the bare minimum of a forward player at Man United to score 10 Premier League goals.
I don't even think you have to say he's at Man United. Just a player of his quality.
Yeah, he's got everything. Yeah, and I think he will. This isn't me saying that he won't. I think he will. And that chance, it's really disappointing that didn't go in, because how much does an opening goal on the first day of the season, first match of the season, help your season just kickstart?
Especially for us, and I won't say how much it cost me on money wise, but there we go.
Well, it cost me on fantasy. I mean, I've got Rashford and Garnacho, and Rashford assisting Garnacho, and he's put it wide in the last minute. I was fuming for multiple reasons, but whatever.
Obviously, while we're on the topic of the end of the game, did you see? Obviously, we went through Martinez's after the game talk. Did you see what he said about Adama?
Sent him back to the gym or something?
Yeah, sent him back to the gym.
Yeah.
And have you seen the reply from Adama?
No.
I think it's along the lines of, "I'll see you next time," and a winky face.
Nice.
Something along those lines.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, it's good fun.
But two professionals respecting each other. And I think actually, Lissandro, if you look at the whole interview, he's got massive respect for Adama Traore. The way he's talking about him, he's saying, he killed me the first time, but I killed him the second time. There's nothing wrong with that. And that is just friendly banter between the two. It verges on the Neil Maupay stuff and James Maddison, but I love that the Neil Maupay stuff and the James Maddison stuff spilt over. I love the nastiness there. Like, I don't think Lissandro Martinez needs to get involved in that sort of stuff, and I'm glad that he kind of held back. But I love that level of Neil Maupay stuff.
Maupay was brilliant on Twitter with England as well, wasn't he?
He's
giving us absolute abuse, but then he was towards the end. He's like, "I've got England. No, I live in England. I want England to win."
Yeah. Massive troll.
How are you feeling about Agati? We've covered him a little bit in a couple of previous podcasts. It looks like we're dead set to sign him now. It looks like it's going to be a loan with a what is it? Permit to buy.
Option to buy.
No, it's not option. It's
obligation to buy.
There we go. Obligation to buy. He wants to come to us.
Yeah,
which is nice. He's really pushing for it.
Yeah, but I also think, again, this is something that we are all of a sudden we took for granted for years. But I think we were right to take it for granted. Why wouldn't you want to come to Man United?
So it should be.
This whole thing where players are like having to be convinced and cajoled to come to Man United. No, we are the biggest team in the world. You should not just want to come to us. You should be forcing through a transfer. You should be refusing to train. You should be. That's what I expect for players to come to Man United. How dare you actually sit there and go, I don't know, I'm going to weigh up my options at PSG, even though there's nothing going on here. Get out of there and come to us. That is what we are.
And I think on top of that, with the way now we're dealing with transfers, where the club's being run, it feels like there's something special building. They've stuck with their manager. Let's give this a damn good go. Yeah. They're signing who they want. They're signing who the manager wants. You're getting a bit of both. You've got to think we signed Euro, which is more of a club signing rather than a Ten Hag signing. I think it was a big...
Well, he's not Dutch, so it's not
exactly.
a Ten Hag signing.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone else plays. 100%. So I think it's an exciting time. You're looking at Man United now and you're thinking, oh, okay, where you got to think, let's say 2 years ago, it's a graveyard of players.
I am not going to get ahead of myself because there are signs of last season and there are signs that I don't like in that Fulham game. There's still signs of the way we're conducting ourselves in the transfer market that I actually still don't like either. The way that we handled the Greenwood situation, the way that we handled the Wan-Bissaka situation, the way that we let go players that have come through the academy like Pellistri or Will Fish and who's Shola Shortire. These players that should be moving for decent enough money
compared to
Donny van der Beek. I'm not saying he's a good player, but he's worth more than £1 million, and I think that's a disgrace.
With Pellistri, I agree with you. It didn't come for the youth. We signed him, didn't we?
We signed him,
but
obviously he played through the academy.
Plays for Uruguay quite often.
Yeah,
letting him go for $6 million. But even with a sell-on clause, it doesn't make sense to me. That's the only thing. But I think we're having the same issue now with trying to get 30 million for Scott. I like Scott as a player, but I'd be okay if he left. But 30 million, and teams aren't paying it, but they'll pay 35 million for Smith Rowe. Didn't play at all last season. Minty, how much did he go for?
I think Newcastle had to sell him.
Quality player, but how much did he go for?
15 million maybe.
He's never played. Has he had a game in the Premier League?
No, I think he went abroad to Feyenoord, was it?
So
he went to the Eredivisie.
15 million from it. We can't get for an established Man United central midfielder, Scotland international. He's played over 100 appearances for United, and we can't get 30 million for him.
Yeah,
I think it's just recovery mode from the past and how much they've all screwed us up.
It is, and it will be a case of one good season at United. I mean, one good season as a club. And I think we'll be back where we should be in terms of. I think
if we get top 4 this season,
I think that would be massive. And it puts us in a position of strength. We are always operating in a position of weakness, and for some reason, Man United seem to be comfortable in that position for too long. We should be operating in a position of strength, that we are the biggest club in the world, that we're not going to get bullied by all these smaller teams pretending like Aaron Wan-Bissaka is worth how much do they pay?
15 million.
15 million is an absolute disgrace.
Yeah,
and we've had to take it.
That frustrates me.
Drives me nuts.
Youngish player. What is he? 26 maybe. He's probably the best defensive right back in the world. For a one-on-one defensive duel.
And we're letting him go for 15 million quid.
Million.
Yeah, and that has to stop.
I agree, but I do think that is a case at the moment, is getting people out to get people in. It's just trying to get the squad that they want, and then we'll work with it from there, and then things will start changing slowly. It's frustrating me because Wan-Bissaka's 25-30 million for me. But I think it is, look, if we get rid of him, we'll get Maswarian, who was, again, phenomenal against Fulham. Just did the basics very well. Happy to go forward, happy to look up, find a player rather than getting the ball and turning back and giving it back. He was giving Maguire abuse for not passing it quick enough. He looked the real deal. If that's the same price we sold Aaron Wan-Bissaka for.
If Luke Shaw comes back in,
Luke Shaw,
I would worry about Dallow's position.
I would as well. But Luke Shaw, I love Luke Shaw, and I really don't want to say this, but he's pissing me off. How can you play for England and then get back and have a thigh? It's a calf injury and be out all the way until the international break? It's bollocks, and it's getting to a point now where we can't keep relying on him. Malasia's gone AWOL. We probably aren't going to see him again. We don't have a left back.
And we aren't going to sign one, and United have come out and said that we're not going to come out and go and sign someone. So yes, it needs to be sorted. And what I try to equate it to, and we have worked for different companies, there's always someone who's on the sick. And I don't know how this works in the football world, but I've heard Roy Keane talk about it. I've heard ex-pros talk about it. It's the same, that there are the same individuals who are always injured. And what are they doing? They get to the point where they get a great contract and then can't be asked. And first opportunity to not go into training or whatever, and then it becomes a cycle. Something that obviously exists in football. Whether that is the case of Luke Shaw, I really hope not, because what a player. But at this point, when do you go, well,
one of the best left
how many injuries can you get?
It's hard because of the leg break. It's one of the worst things we've ever seen. So I do understand it, but it's getting to a point you can't keep coming back and going. Like I said, I think I said last time, I feel like he's just fallen out of love a little bit with football, and it's a bit of a case of, I'll play when I can. I'm not really that arsed.
I think he forced his way back early to play for England.
How good was he? Yeah, of course he would. How good was he for England as well when he played his performances?
And I just wonder whether that just maybe took its toll.
I just feel like it's not got the same level of enthusiasm. As it probably wouldn't playing club football over your international football.
But that's not who you want at Man United.
And it's frustrating us because we need him. Him and our back four makes us a 10 times better team. And I'll tell you what, Rashford will definitely thrive off having Luke Shaw there.
And Luke Shaw.
Because Dalot cannot play left back. I mean, Dalot going forward.
I mean, he can, but it's not ideal.
He cuts back, pulls it back. He doesn't use his left foot.
He's very slow, actually, on that left-hand side. I noticed there's a lot of times on the right-hand side he might have driven.
Gone for it. Yeah. That's what I think I text you
but
saying it.
He's very hesitant, isn't he?
I think he's just a bit uncomfortable there. And we say Martinez there doesn't work. Mazraoui might work on the left, but again, he's a right back by trade. Yeah. So Luke, we need him back. And if he comes back, like I said, I think our back four is one of the better ones. I don't think we're going to concede half as many goals.
Delict, Martinez, Dalot and Luke Shaw, or Mazraoui and Luke Shaw is hard to beat. It's just we need a decent...
I do think Rashford thrives off Luke Shaw.
Yeah, I think that helps our attacking side of it as well.
So that's a bit of a discussion. I did want to bring something up with you. I had a little watch of a interview with Sir Jim Ratcliffe. And he brought up a couple of statements, and I really enjoyed this one. So since Ferguson has left 10 years ago, we have a net spend of 1.1 billion. We have gone from probably the best team in England to having probably one of the worst stadiums, in the sense it's such a mess. It's going to need so many upgrades. The training ground's 10 years behind where it should be. The players we've got in aren't worth anywhere near as what we've spent on them. We're an absolute mess, which we know about. And then he goes on to say Real Madrid, in that same amount of time, have a net spend of 200 million. And they've now probably got the best stadium in the world. And they've spent a net spend of 200 million.
Do you know why? Do you know why? Part of the reason? They managed to ship Varane and Casemiro off to us. Casemiro cost 75 million. How much did we pay for Varane?
Varane was 45, I think.
These are players that they didn't want. And so Bayern Munich do this, Real Madrid do this. When a player, and I said to you, sent me in the week, there was a link to Leon Goretzka coming into Man United from Bayern. I said to you, Bayern don't let players go unless they want to let players go. Nobody leaves Bayern because they want to leave Bayern. No one leaves Real Madrid for the same reason. A couple of years ago, he was top quality, and you were a big fan of his. Bayern will know something that we don't. I don't know if you've seen the drop-off of him physicality-wise as well.
I've seen his hair go.
Like, there's a lot of rumours about why.
Oh, okay.
But I'm not saying I believe them. But there's a lot of rumours why. But Bayern don't sell unless they want to sell. Real Madrid don't sell unless they want to sell. And they're in positions of strength, which Man United used to be, which we're not anymore. But this is why they can balance their books and build a new stadium and keep their commercial revenue and top level. And sign whoever they want. And because why wouldn't you want to go to a project that looks like it's up and coming?
Well, this is the thing. When you think of the biggest teams in the world, and I mean no disrespect to any other team, the two biggest teams you're going to say are Real Madrid and Man United. Behind that closely is probably Barcelona.
Bayern, Liverpool, yeah.
Yeah. And for the fact that we are on that same level as Real Madrid, but we're
that far
100 places away.
Yeah, it's been a case of chucking money. Like, we've had the money to spend because of our commercial revenue. And one thing that is always talked about is Ed Woodward's ability in terms of commercial aspects was very good. Yeah. And the deals that we struck were very good. Unfortunately, we then thought, okay, we can be as lackadaisical as we want to be in the transfer market. We don't have to plan ahead. We don't have to safeguard ourselves, and we can go and chuck money at players. That didn't work, and that doesn't work, and it's put us in a situation where, because we were so far behind, we just kept chucking money thinking it's going to work. It didn't work.
No, never worked.
And this is what we need to change. And I think
a sporting director in place, I think, is
that
a good
helps.
place to start.
Dan Ashworth coming in, that helps. People who have got plans in place, and I think most importantly is people who aren't reactionary, that don't freak out at the moments of pressure.
Which is why I'm enjoying the transfer window now. I know you're a bit hesitant on it. I think the fact we've taken our time with Zirkzee, we agreed a deal with him with a contract with him in July, and he wants to come. He's pushing through to come, but they're playing hardball with their price tag, and we're like, hold on a second, we'll take our time. Yeah. That's nice to see. They're not going, okay, well, we want to pay 40 million, you want 50, we'll give you 50. We'll give you 55. Yeah. That's the way we've behaved for the last 10 years. And the fact that that's changing makes me feel a little bit more comfortable. You got to think, is it Perez at Madrid? Yeah. I can't stand that man.
Yeah, Florentino Perez, yeah.
He has run that club great. He does brilliant with the players. Have you seen the video of him on Twitter with the players he likes? You can see the players he likes and see the players he's not really that asked about. He's giving them big cuddles. The rest of him is like, yeah, nice.
I'm guessing he's a big fan of Lucas Vazquez. Was he one of them?
He was.
Yeah.
He loves him, didn't he?
Well, he's just been at the club for however long. Same as Guti. Guti was one of, I think it was Perez at the time as well. Was there whilst Guti was there. He
was unbelievable. It's not until after he retired, when I started watching old games, I realised how good that man was.
He ran the dressing room. Him and Raul apparently ran the dressing room. Guti and Raul.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, and I think there was a lot of fallouts when the Galacticos started coming in, and there was a lot of things in the press. But yeah, I think that there's no surprise that the teams that are successful are the teams that run their club almost in an old school dictatorship way. And you don't want to see that socially, but in terms of a business, yeah, I want to see that. I want to see, people saying, well, I'm not going to get messed about. Look at the way that Tottenham have dealt with transfers over the years. Yeah, granted, they've not spent the money that arguably they should, but do they get messed around on transfers? No, you're going in with Daniel Levy, and your negotiations are going to go the only way that could possibly go, and that's his way.
I think with clubs like Madrid, you could, if you're not good enough, you ain't staying, you're gone.
Yeah,
doesn't matter how much you paid, you're out of here. We'll keep you for a season.
Well, look at Marco Asensio.
Yeah,
they told him, look, and most teams in Europe would have been saying, "Wow, what a player! What I'd go and sign him." No, you're not good enough for Real Madrid standing, and you'll sit on the bench until we get a decent offer for you. I think the same might happen for one of their players, but at the moment when you look at this Real Madrid side, I actually don't know which one. And do you know what the biggest difference between United and Real Madrid is at this point? Every single one of those players is happy to sit on that bench because they're at Real Madrid.
And they're desperate for their chance to come on.
Yeah.
With us, it's a case of I'm bigger than the club. Where now I think because we are run slightly different, it'd be interesting to see over the next couple of years, especially what they do with the stadium.
Yeah.
Again, another part of that video we'll touch base on it is the fact he said, have you seen about Old Trafford? It's the third biggest waterfall in England. Which is quite funny.
Wow.
Yeah, brilliant. But what's going to happen there? Because I don't know any United fan that I've ever spoken to. No one wants a new stadium. We love our stadium.
Yeah,
we just want to sort it out.
Just sort it out. Just renovate, and
which is what they're looking into.
It's going to be a lot of money, but guess what?
It's the best stadium in the world. If you up the capacity, because I was sat this morning trying to get a ticket for Tottenham or for Liverpool. I was 37,000 in the queue. Open a new tab. I got down to 300, got in, clicked buy tickets on the Tottenham game, bang, put me back to 38,000 in the queue. We haven't got enough seats.
It's a killer.
We're a commercial club now, unfortunately, which means we get thousands of fans that aren't asked about the football. They're just coming to Man United because it's a big stadium, it's an amazing place to go, it's a big ordeal, so it's really hard. It's not really hard to get tickets. You can if you work your ass off.
Yeah,
but
you can,
it's so
but
big now.
It becomes almost like a part-time job, sorting tickets for yourself.
I sat there for an hour this morning. I got into the queue. I think you started at 10 o'clock. 9 o'clock, I was sat with the window open. I sat there till 11, and I still didn't get a ticket. And I'm not.
The only way to combat that is do what I've been doing for however long. And when the moment comes up that I'm free, chuck money at it.
However, which
is not ideal.
This will make you understand a little bit more. So I've been on the season ticket waiting list now since 2006. I still haven't got a season ticket. I pay for the most expensive membership this year and last year to get a better chance. I paid £100 each for myself and my son to get a season ticket. Nothing this year. Got nothing. So I've got a membership for 70 quid. They've taken 400 quid out of my account this year. I've got nothing to show for it. And I'm a fan that wants to go every week, and I can't get a ticket. or can't get a season ticket. But yet you've got probably people online who are selling them off for £500 a ticket. How much we have to pay for the final for the League Cup? Silly money.
Yeah, and the one-off games. I think what you got to do with United is take your opportunities when you can. If you're not a season ticket holder, but you've got an opportunity and there's a Tuesday night game or there's a random Monday night or a Friday night sometimes, a Thursday night. Unfortunately, this season, get yourself there, and that's all we can do. Yeah. But I for someone who works weekends, I'm not available for every game. But when I am available, if I've got an opportunity, then you're just going to have to go and chuck money on it. And that's not the opportunity that everyone has, every fan has.
I'm not moaning that I can't get a ticket. I'm one of the fans that just can't be arsed, and I'd sit at home and I tell you, the point I'm making is it's just run so shit. Yeah. The club has been run so poorly over the years. The Glazers don't give a shit about the fans. No. It's take your money. We'll take £400 off him. We're not going to give him anything extra. He's not going to get a season ticket. He's not going to get a better chance. We'll have £400 sat in our account. Obviously, it's not much money, but you do that to 75,000 people.
Plus.
For probably more than that for your memberships. Yeah. It's just run poorly. So it's nice just to see things starting to change a little bit. You've got standing now in Old Trafford, or things are changing. So we can only pray and hope to God that we beat Brighton on Saturday.
Yeah. You said it was a nightmare trip last time down.
Do you know what? It was. I drove down, it took me 9 hours to get to Brighton. But the stadium is stunning. All leather seats here. Yeah. Absolutely loved it. Lovely ground amazing. In the middle of nowhere. 2.5 mile walk to the stadium, but absolutely lovely stadium. So looking forward to that game. I do have one more thing for you.
Okay, hit me with it.
So I should open my phone. It was last week. I was sat on, it must have been Twitter, and this popped up, and I just wanted to get your thoughts on it. I did recover it. So it was a article in one of the newspapers, and it was from Robbie Fowler. So here's what it was. New season, fresh start, same old. The only thing Ten Hag is likely to win is the sack race. And there's a massive spiel about Man United because obviously everyone's obsessed.
What's it? Has he tweeted this?
Nope, this is his piece.
Oh, he's got a whole piece.
Yeah, and it's all United. Our Anfield legend says what we're all thinking. Who's all? Explain that to me.
It's. I mean, look, it's typical Liverpool. But is it just clickbait?
What, on a paper?
Yeah.
I want to go buy that paper because Robbie Fowler's wrote some spiel in there about
Man United. See it and then it goes viral and then people are talking about it and people are talking about your article.
Do you agree with him?
No. Do you know what? The more I look at it this season, and I'll keep it brief because I know we want to end the show, but there is a part of me that, and the longer Ten Hag stays, the longer I think he's probably gonna stay and do well. And I don't mind being wrong, and I would love to be wrong, but I just don't feel like Erik ten Hag is the best in class coach. I just don't feel like I've seen that over the last 2 seasons, and I think he has failed Man United in the last 2 seasons. We have won trophies, I understand that, but in terms of league position, Man United cannot afford, and do you know what? We shouldn't settle for anything less than top 4. We shouldn't be talking about. We shouldn't talk. We sat here talking. Oh, I hope we get top 4. That's not what we should be at. So, yes, if Robbie Fowler's saying this and saying Erik ten Hag is going to be sacked next, it will be league form, and he's probably right.
The shortest odds, 2 managers' shortest odds when I checked last week. Eddie Howe was number 1, Ten Hag was number 2.
Wow. Well, there you go.
Okay, well, thank you everyone for listening. We'll be back next Thursday. Next Thursday, and every week
Thursday.
After that. Every Thursday after that. So good luck, United.
Yeah, and if you haven't subscribed, go ahead, subscribe. We're on YouTube, we're on Apple, we're on Spotify, and more importantly, Vince is on TikTok now for all of your clips, your debates. So is it Vince Goalpost?
Vince Goalpost,
At Vince Goalpost, go and follow him. And hopefully we'll keep the content coming because we've got a lot of interesting things coming up this season.
We do indeed. Thank you very much for listening.
Cheers, guys.
Thank you.
Because the cold